We are joined today by Darina and Kristian. They are the super couple entrepreneurs that co-founded Ooni. Thank you so much for being on the show today. How are y'all?
Very well.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks very much for having us.
Oh, of course. I'm honored because I'm going to say when this show comes out in April, it'll be my 1 year anniversary of being an Ooni user. And I just have to say it's changed my life for real, for real. And I can't thank you all enough. Seriously.
Oh, that's incredible. Thank you very much. That's how has it changed your life?
Well, it's fed my family efficiently. It's allowed me to experiment and get the color that I want on my pizzas.
Nice.
And honestly, the best thing really is just being a part of the community and being able to share and learn from others who are Ooni users as well.
That's really cool. It's I think for both, we can speak for both of us here, but I think that's the one thing that we love hearing is when it's had an impact, a positive impact into people's lives, and we feel really, really privileged in being in this position of actually having that positive impact for people, and they can have come together and enjoy great pizza with their families and their friends.
Yeah, which oven do you have, Idra?
I have the Ooni Coda 16 and the Ooni Karu 12.
2 times. Excellent.
Ooh, cool. Two oven family.
2 oven family, yes, I'm fortunate. I'm excited to get the show going. There is one way that I love to start the show, and it's not typically me getting interviewed, but I want to ask you all. There's no right or wrong question. There's no right or wrong answer, excuse me. What's good dough?
What's good dough? I would say so. I don't know where I stack up with people in the Ooni community and the pizza community with when it comes to making dough and making pizzas. I've made a lot of pizzas in my life, but I think still. So I would not call myself anywhere near to the expertise level that a lot of people whose pizzas I see and admire. However, I think the core thing for me when it comes to what is good and what do I think is great is that when it turns out and my kids say that pizza was the best, or when we had some kids friends over this weekend and they said that this is the best pizza I've ever had, and that's when I know that's good though, that came out right.
For me, I would like to answer what's good dough in a different way. So I would say that what I love about pizza, but also kind of the wider Ooni experience and community, is exactly that. It's the community. I can't get over how much pizza connects people. So, we're making today because of this. There's such passion with each part of pizza making. So pizza making, pizza preparation, of course, sharing pizza, sharing images, sharing tips, connecting over how to do it. And one of the best things, the goodest of all things, is about that feeling that you've never quite nailed perfection with a pizza. There's this beautiful learning journey that everyone's on, even professional pizzaiolos, pizzaioli, don't feel like they've nailed it. And I love that. It's like so simple, but it's such a journey to get it. And then that simple joy of, eating pizza with kids. So yeah, there's so much good about pizza. But I think my favorite part is the people in the community, and how it actually connects people.
I love both of those answers, and I think they're quite tied to each other because people are always, at least for me, I'm always looking to share information and get information back because you have to give in order to get. And I am also trying to hear from the next person that I serve my pizza to, that's the best pizza I've ever eaten. And so as we continue to learn from one another, my increasing chances of, oh yeah, that's the best pizza I've ever heard, that chance increases, right? The next time I serve pizza.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, sometimes when it comes to the kids and their friends, their bar is not very high.
Yeah, they talk about the pizza they get at school. Yeah, right. Like Oscar, at one point, our son said that he had really, really good pizza at school. We're like, oh, okay, and saw it, and it didn't look great, but he enjoyed it. So
Yeah. No, turns out with him though, there was they got hot dogs next to the pizza. That's what made it really good.
I would say kids I've heard, are brutally honest. And so, yeah, they like what they like, and that's cool.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you too, as we just, start this conversation, I want to learn more about the two of you. Can you fill me in and the listeners about your love story?
yeah, sure. We met studying photography in the south of England many years ago. I think it was what year was it, Kristian? 2003, maybe?
It was so Darina was we both studied art. We both studied photography, and I was on the BA, and Darina was on the MA, and she joined in when I was in my second year, and we'd met. And this was a tight knit small community where the university or the institute was, and we'd met in a few parties, and then in 2004, which is now 18 years ago. We hooked up and have been together ever since.
Romantic telling. Yeah, I think like it's cool for our background in photography, and kind of like that visual world is really important for Ooni. And I think even though neither of us practice photography anymore, I definitely think having that kind of visual eye helped scale our brands more quickly, because we really care about kind of the look and feel of content. But yeah.
I think that's right. I think it's helped us. We've put the visual image and the output of the company really quite high up, and it really, in the early days, I think it really helped. When I look at other companies when they're trying to put things together, and they just the sort of the complications of getting great photography and having a cohesive visual image, it's really, really important. I think we've both had kind of contributed really well towards that. Personally, these days, I mostly take pictures of our dog when I go running in the mornings. That's my extent of my photography, martigraphy.
But when the company first started, was it safe to assume that you all were exclusively taking all of your photos?
Yeah, for a good while. I did have so we started off as a Kickstarter campaign. I had a good friend of mine who's also a photographer helped me with the video, and then I edited it myself afterwards. And I've had actually that friend also at some points during the Ooni story. He's helped with photography. It's actually surprisingly, especially when you go back. 10 years now, when you go back and think about it, it's surprisingly difficult to do everything yourself when you're doing making pizzas, and you're trying to do food styling, and you're trying to do photography. So I think maybe 2015, 16 onwards, we've had other friends who are much better, who've actually gone into be professional photographers and very, very good at it, then to come and help us with that. One of them actually worked with us in a permanent basis here in Scotland for a while, and we still continue to collaborate with him. He's also a pizza ambassador, or Ooni ambassador, for us in Finland. It's really good fun.
When the company was smaller, how did you two delegate the different tasks that you had and also prioritize? I imagine there was so much to do. How did you figure out what was important and who did what?
I think it was quite natural. Kristian and I actually so after we studied photography, we were both working in various freelance positions, a lot in education and creativity, which is really nice grounding. And we actually started a business called Sukla, which was all about those things, innovation and creativity in school systems, and working with teachers and young people, and all sorts of kind of events around the world as well. So that was a really nice segue into Ooni. So we had a natural rhythm of working together already, and we're very different, which is, I think, complementary. So I would say that Kristian absolutely prioritized the product, It was his invention, this uni that came out of we always said in the schools that creativity is problem solving, and Kristian had this problem. He just wanted better pizza. He had good pizza. Couldn't believe that wasn't something you could make in your own oven. And then that's where the uni came from, basically. We didn't have the money or the space for a kind of traditional wood-fired oven. And that's when he started tinkering and inventing the very first uni. But yeah, so he always focused on the products, but way more than that as well. Like quite a sharp business mind. And I would say my focus was on people and culture and how to facilitate getting things done. As well as, obviously, I think what we both have is a really, really strong ambition from a very early stage with Ooni. So we knew it was good, but we really thought it was going to be epic quite early. So kind of both positive and have that sort of shared language of believing that we can do things on a grand scale. And also what was really nice about when we started Ooni, lots of people thought we were mad, but we had been working in education, so we didn't have very much money, and we didn't, people who'd gone from kind of corporate jobs and were giving up things for this, mad startup, they wouldn't have done it. But we had a very kind of nice opportunity because we already worked for ourselves, and we could roll with Ooni and get it going, and we weren't sort of giving up city jobs. We did fine, but I think that really, really helped us be able to be creative and positive about it. So, yeah, I don't know, Kristian, what you would add, but we definitely have different skill sets, which has worked well.
Yeah, absolutely. You need in business and in many other places, you need complementary skill sets. And I think that's been our strength ever since. Even we've worked together since 05, 06 kind of time, and we've always known that. And we try not to step in on each other's toes too much. And now we're co-CEOs of Ooni and have been for the past year. And I think that's just sort of highlights the importance of those complementary skills coming together.
It seems like you both are just have just been entrepreneurial your whole life, and that, helped you all in building Ooni. I also love that you all basically, took in the help that you can from friends and family to help do video, but then also you really made this a community initiative from the beginning using Kickstarter. Can you talk to me about, starting a business through that, and do you recommend it for people today?
Sure, yeah. So when sort of was casting my mind back to sort of early 2012, when I was still just working on this, and it was really very much an idea at that stage, and I had made some prototypes that were really, really rudimentary. But kind of when I knew that, okay, well, there's something in this. The Kickstarter was actually something that I was already, it was on my radar. I backed a few projects, maybe as early as 2009 or 2010 or something, that I found interesting. And then from that kind of knew that if and when I get this thing working, I really want to launch this on Kickstarter, because that just feels like the right way to do it. To test the idea whether it's viable, and really get some little bit of capital behind it to make it happen. I mean, in today's standards, is really quite modest. The campaign we made about £17,500, about $25,000 in the first campaign. So it was really quite like modest. I guess is the best way. These days you see these massive campaigns that make millions and millions, and to be honest, like, I think that would probably have been a bad thing in the long term had it become too big in the beginning, because really we've created a category. No one's made this type of product before. There was traditional wood-fired ovens, there was pizza ovens for pizzerias, but no one had made one that is uniquely positioned to enable anyone in any outdoor space to wood-fired, at that stage, just wood-fired pizzas. So there wasn't like a blueprint into, hey, this is how you come up with a new product. And so we were really creating something from ground up. And it did take us years when we've still got obviously the original Ooni still worked, and we occasionally see people on Instagram who are using the original, and they're it's so proud of the fact that they've got the original one and they're still running it. And we sometimes try and reach out to them and see if they'd swap it to a new one so we can have it to our collections, because we haven't got many of them. But it took a few years to get to the point of where, say, in Coda 12 launched in 2019. So it took us a few years to get the product right to be right for that market, because again, there was no blueprints to follow. There was no one to copy. We had to create everything up from scratch. So that when it comes back to the Kickstarter campaign was really, really fantastic, because we had this small community there, 92 people who bought an oven through the campaign, and 142 people who in total backed the campaign, who said and put their money forward and said that, hey, I really want this thing to be successful. And I think that really sparked in us the fact that we've always looked at our community as an extension of the Ooni team here, who are as passionate or more passionate in some cases of the products than we are. So it's really, really amazing to see that kind of community in action and helping us grow to the size we are now.
Yeah, so the Kickstarter and being on a crowdfunding platform, like I said, it sort of proved out our proof of concept. That was awesome. We got lots of media on the back of it. And, people literally backing us was a really important thing. I talk about this often with our salespeople, with any of our team, that we started to think of consumers as backers in everything we do. Like, they're on your side, they're on our side. If we launch a product, they win, we win. It was really kind of felt like a genuine partnership. And also it helped develop our communication. I guess now it's a strategy, but then it was just a way of talking to the community, which was, I think, Kickstarter backers or crowdfunding backers, they have high expectations. They want really open dialogue because they've invested in you. But that's really good, right? So if you've got an open, like, authentic way of communicating, then it's really formative, and we've sort of taken all those lessons. But the last thing is that we were global from day one, which was incredible. And so, able to be an e-commerce business from the outset. We went on to have retailers after the fact, but we literally I think our first 100 customers say they were very similar to the split of our general customer base today. So kind of North American heavy, and then people in the UK and people around the world. So yeah, so much good came from that 30-day campaign. And then, as Kristian said, it just kept coming in after the fact. We didn't, even though we had stopped the campaign, people were still interested. So we were sort of rushing to try and keep up with that. And then we had to find a manufacturer, because that wasn't something we had. We were so not ready for the kind of success, the early days.
It gets my palms a bit clammy when I think about the original Kickstarter campaign. I don't think it would actually, in today's world, like the way that Kickstarter and these things have changed over the last 10 years, it actually probably wouldn't be allowed in the terms of Kickstarter anymore. You have to have your product a little bit further along, and I would wholeheartedly recommend having a manufacturer for the product you're launching when you're launching it. But it was like the original version was fairly straightforward, so I had all the confidence in being able to solve it in that time between. And we were only like 2 days late in shipping the first ovens, which is fairly good track record for a Kickstarter campaign, I'd say.
What a great story. And I think, from what I've seen, some companies, kind of like what you were saying earlier, something that I heard before was that people have an amazing product, but they don't have the community behind it, so it's not successful. And then sometimes people create the best product in the world, but the timing is off. And it seems like Ooni just was in the right place at the right time. And so congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's often I think of it in many ways. It's as one of these sort of overnight successes, 10 years in the making. Like it took a long time for us to get it to the place where we are now. And last 2 years we've grown a lot in that time. But it wouldn't have happened without having our ducks in row over the building of the company phase and the kind of building of the foundations. So, but at the same time, like we still do think like today, showing up to work, we still do think that it's day one, and we've got most of history of Ooni is still ahead of us.
I love that. Because, in today's society, everyone wants to be successful tomorrow. People want it fast. I lack patience. We lack patience as a society. We want change right away. But you mentioned something very important, is that you have to build this strong foundation first. Otherwise, if you do get quote unquote overnight success, it could come tumbling down. What were some of the important foundations that you all built within these 10 years that you felt really held the company down and prepared you for this?
I think you have to start with the reasons why you're doing something, and that you mentioned there that people are looking for the overnight success, and I think in some ways heading off onto a journey to find success is already the success or riches or something like that. Is already a bit of I'd say maybe a misguided starting point. You have to find the reason why you're doing it, and for us, it was to make great pizza at home. It started from a personal need. I got really very into making pizza at home, and I wanted a better product to make pizza, and I wanted more people that I care about to have that experience. I wanted them to tell their friends, and that would create a community. And so it was really started. The core of it wasn't to become successful. I had a really strong feeling, and we had a strong feeling that, hey, this could be something quite big when we get there. But the reason why we want to do it is to make great pizza at home.
Yeah, so I think that as well, one of the things I was going to say, so it didn't work properly with the timing, but was that we actually didn't stick to that really core thing the whole time of like, this is about making pizza at home, which was we kind of like, we were really back there. Of course, we've always been about pizza, but one of the things as we sort of grew the company, we created this category, right? So pizza at home didn't really exist, and like making pizza at home with an outdoor pizza oven wasn't really a thing unless you were kind of had an expensive installation. So what we thought we had to do was educate everyone that, oh, you have to learn how to make pizza. It's not so hard. And we sort of simplified it, and because we thought we had to both grow the category and teach people how to kind of access making pizza at home because it's worth it. And then we talked to customers, people like our retailers started to call it Ooni Pizza Oven, but we didn't call it that. We called it Ooni Outdoor Oven. And it was almost like a bit apologetic in a way, because we were like, it can do steaks, it can do fish, it can do roast vegetables. If you put cast iron in, yes, it can do pizza, but it can do so much more. We're like, why are retailers keep calling it a pizza oven? We're like, yeah, that's why we made it. But like, does that put people off? And then we just learned as we grew that actually the customers that we should be aiming for are probably already making pizza at home. In fact, they are, and they just bought Ooni to level up exactly like Kristian wanted it. And so we didn't have to sort of simplify dough making and actually dumb it down or show how accessible it is. They care a lot about hydration and sourdough and, salt levels and all of that. That seems to actually be really exciting. But also we just went on to then own pizza. That's why we started, and to be really clear about the message. It's not that you can't do other things, but we want to kind of claim our space as the company, the organizations that really is associated with that pure message. And it's been so much better. it's never been far from our sights, but I think it helped us really sort of hone our strategy and messaging and, comms with every kind of partner to every consumer. So it wasn't, we meandered a little bit, for example, and we could have made lots of other products around cooking. And I'm glad we've sort of come back to this really clear and wholesome path.
That's perfect. When I think of Ooni, I think it's for the enthusiast, for someone looking to make pizza regularly and will geek out about those things. But it's nice to know that when you all went into this, it's not that you had a different vision for it, but it wasn't as tight or locked down, but you figured it out by listening to others. And that's important. That's an important lesson right there.
Yeah. And another part of our business that's really important that I would sort of encourage everyone to do, whether it's a tiny business or, a large one, is to really focus on kind of the values and culture and give that equal weighting to the product, because that's really helped us during this rocky time that the world's been through. We're very lucky to have to be successful and still growing in the last couple of years. But what's really beautiful is how engaged our team are and how happy they are in workplace, and that's a lot to do with not how we managed it, but how the rest of the team have taken on the kind of culture and the values and onboarded people and welcomed them in and act with kindness. And that's I think as important. And now particularly these days where there's the mass resignation and people are leaving and reevaluating what matters, you do need a company that has purpose and is people focused and has values that aren't just stuck up on the wall. So I'm very glad that we made that decision early on. I think it's responsible for our success almost as much as the kind of product, because it's enabled us to bring in really good people and keep them, and they build it with us. So I'm super excited about that.
Can you give more practical advice as to how that decision came about? Because, I mean, we can all say that we value culture and values, but how did you make sure that it was a staple and implemented?
In the early days, we created the values. We chose the values with our team, who were only 7 of us at that point, and we revisit them. So they should be things that you all are already doing, not aspirations. And so we revisit them every year. We hire via those now, and actually when we've made mistakes, it's when we've gone, that person's not passionate, but we're passionate and they're really experienced, so it'll be fine. And it isn't. You can't really teach those things. Practically though, in terms of focusing on culture, people say to us all the time, if you're growing a company, you lose your culture as you scale. It's inevitable. You become a corporate machine, and that honestly freaks us out. That's not what we want. We obviously want to be successful, but we think that it doesn't need to be that way. So by prioritizing culture and people and listening to the team and making decisions. So for example, we raised our minimum salary for entry-level positions to £25,000 in the UK, and I think it's £35,000 in the US, and that's so much more than the national living wage, which is the kind of people are doing now. And because we think actually that's important, we can help people level up in life. And then we do things like we have a £500 passion fund. Passion is one of our values, and we think that is, well, it's one of my favourite values that we have. We want to hire passionate people. And yes, they hopefully are passionate about uni and pizza, but what else fires them up, right? What are the things that they do outside of work that they can spend a bit of time and money on? So whether it's visiting, I don't know, a Michelin star restaurant in Spain, or going to a Knicks game in New York, or I don't know, buying climbing gear for climbing the Munros of Scotland, the big mountains, or buying a puppy. Lots of people did that. So it's about, and then so they light up when they talk about it, and it's not a massive amount of money, but it's quite a rare thing to have that to spend on yourself. So you have to put some time and thought into it, and it's every year. And I think it shows our team that we think about the whole human. So yes, we want them to be engaged and work hard, but we also want them to have a really balanced life. So that has been by far one of our most sort of successful things, because everyone's passionate about something, and it reminds them that there is more than working. And definitely encourage people to do that. Simple hack for firing up passion.
I'm lighting up just hearing about it. The way you explained it is perfect. I'm not gonna lie. I've looked at the Ooni employment opportunities, and I was just like, "Oh, this is cool. You get an oven, you get the credit, all of this stuff."
Yeah, we need our team to be using the products, and like people. It's so nice that you have them and you get it. It's actually quite hard to communicate unless you demonstrate that, right? Like how fun it is to cook your own pizzas, and so we really want our team like advocating and testing out and using them and feeding back and all of that and making pizza, right? That's our whole thing.
Speaking of making pizza, how do you all see, or what is your view on the fact that people are starting to, take this oven and, some of them are using it for the occasional bake, the family gathering, right? Or even the daily use, but some take it to the next level and they make their livelihood from it. Was that something you all expected?
It wasn't I guess an expected thing per se. It wasn't a target in a way, but it's amazing. I mean, it's especially over the last couple of years hearing these stories of people kind of having more time that they want to put in, dedicate. They really get passionate about pizza making and want to bring that to people around them, and in some cases actually genuinely helping make the ends meet with it. So really, I mean, it's incredible. Quite funnily enough, I was just reading through. I still have all my old files. The original business plan that I'd written for Ooni in like early 2012, and it mentioned that one of the promotion ideas for Ooni was to strap one of these ovens on the back of a bike and have this hyper local pizza delivery service where I'd cycle to people's homes and then make a pizza then and there in the front garden. And so it's quite funny that it's done sort of a full loop back, and now people are doing that for themselves and as an actual livelihood. So it's incredible. Yeah, we call that our Powered by Ooni crew, and they're really, really important part of the community, because it's a sort of, it highlights the product's performance and capability, that this is not just something that this isn't like a home version of something. This is something that you can truly run a business on, but you can also afford to have this product at your home in your back garden. And only thing that is between you and these magnificent pizzas is putting in a little bit of time to learn how to make the dough, and then you're done. Like anyone can make these pizzas. So the product is in the barrier there.
Sorry, I was going to say it's mutually beneficial for us as well. Like I explained earlier, that I think one of our biggest challenges is to sort of demo how awesome these things are. So the fact that there are people out there in real life cooking and selling pizzas and giving pizzas away and literally demonstrating Ooni is beautiful for us, because they're all very good at it. They're really passionate about it. And lots of people, like I said, have left jobs that they weren't happy in to start something that they're really passionate about. And it's awesome to be able to support that. But of course, it's good for us as well to have these people out there and in communities cooking and getting their pizzas out there. We thought about doing lots more of ourselves. And of course, we do demonstrate and, at certain events and cook. But actually, people focus on the pizza, right? They just want their slice. So it's quite hard to do both. So the fact that these are out there in real life, we can all, it's good for us all.
I have to agree. Like when you see this, I brought my Ooni oven to a HOA board meeting the other day. And not only was I the most popular guy there because everyone was eating, but like people were just like, that thing makes pizza? It's so small. Yeah. My HOA wants to buy one for their community barbecue area now. So, yeah.
Well, we can help with that, definitely.
Of course. That's so nice.
Very cool. Just talking about growth and how just this thing is like, I don't know, I don't want to call it viral, but like there's something just, excellent and exceptional about it. I read somewhere or heard in a different interview that like you all met you 4x'd in the pandemic because of just the growth in pizza. Or it's like something like you 4x'd your projections for 2020 and 2021. Like, wow, congratulations. But I guess maybe I can hear your thoughts and where does that leave you when you've experienced that much growth?
It's a good question because we're so sort of like where obviously we've been blown away. I think timing of this of like such an awful thing to happen to the world was sort of right for us. Uni was right at this point where we were ready. We were already starting to grow very fast, and we were so determined at that point. We knew in late 2019 or 23 of 2019 that now is the time that we're ready to take this to the mainstream and get people making pizza at home. So the product at that point was ready. We were already growing at a really, really good pace. So when 2020 March 2020 happened, it was just we were kind of in some ways we were there just obviously trying to meet the demand. Now, where does it leave us now? Of course, like we don't know what size the market will be. Like the market used to be market for pizza ovens used to be smaller than what we are today, and we're really driving that growth. So we're really focused on first of all making the best products into the world that we can, and building that community and growing the market, because we do believe that of course we're doing good things here with pizza. We're getting people to make pizza with their families and with their friends. So that's what we don't know what size that necessarily that market is going to be in the future. It's hopefully going to be a lot bigger than it is today. We know the barbecue market is massive compared to us. Can the pizza market be as big as barbecue market? I think so. I mean, pizza is the most popular food in the world. It is the most loved food in the world. So why wouldn't making that at home be more important than it is today?
Yeah, I think you said it well. I'm incredibly optimistic as usual that we're only getting started, honestly. Whilst the pandemic definitely accelerated our growth, our projections and our plans are still epic, in terms of where we think we can take it. And what it did, the pandemic, it was something safe to use outside, and both an experience and people coming together over food is amazing, and even better over fire and food, and to actually make something together. Like we've had people tell us that they now have a Friday night ritual with their grown-up son because they met every Friday night and cook pizza together, and now they communicate like they never have before. So all of that will continue, and one of our biggest drivers of growth is word of mouth. So more people having Unis, more people tell people about their experiences, and that they're on, it grows. So yeah, we think we've fast forwarded where we would have been anyway, which is awesome. But what I think is here forever is that people are investing in their homes because there's hybrid working, right? Like no one's ever going to go back to the office full time, and the vast majority of people won't if they can work remotely. So backyards have during the pandemic, and still are, an extension of the home, something that's really precious if you've got space to cook. So I believe that whilst I hope things go back to normal and we can be with people and travel and see the world, I really, really do. I think that there's a shift towards people, investing in their own space, making it comfortable, thinking about how they can have experiences there forevermore. So yeah, we're just getting started in terms of where we can take it. And like I say, more people cooking, they talk about it. So yeah, it's the right kind of viral. I think you're right. There's a wrong kind of viral for sure. No more of that, please.
Right. Interesting point that you made, Kristian, about the whole like barbecue being bigger, yet pizza is the number one food in the world. I would say barbecue is a craft as well that is very hard, right? And so I don't know. You got me thinking about just the size of outdoor pizza ovens and where it can go. That's really interesting. Do you have any other kind of predictions for this market? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
It's hard to say. It does feel quite. It's surprising that it is surprising that no one had done anything in this market in the same way as we did. We did back 10 years ago, and I do sometimes wonder what would have happened if we hadn't been around. Would it have been pushed out by 5 years, 10 years? That no anyone actually started bringing this type of thing into the market? Would the market look as good as it does today? It's really hard to say. It's like I said there. We think the market used to be 5 years ago smaller than what we are today, just because it wasn't accessible. So for us, it's really finding more people who are looking to do this, and we know that they're out there. We know that people are making pizza at home already a lot. There's of course like bread baking. It's over the pandemic as well became a massively big thing. Sourdough was everywhere already before the pandemic, but then it just absolutely blew up. So we know that there's a lot of people who really love making pizza at home. So we're here in the lookout for those and trying to satisfy their needs as much as we can.
We'll always be innovating. I think that's we're not going to just kind of stop and think, okay, we've completed it. We really don't. Much like people approach pizza making and dough, there's so much more we can do. And being connected to the community, talking to the community, thinking about where this has to go and how we can incorporate making pizza more into people's lives and meeting people where they're at is really exciting. Because like you say, barbecue is a craft and there's lots of ways in. But it can be quite a solo thing where we think that there's opportunities with pizza making because it's much more interactive to involve, the whole family and to make it kind of more of an experience. So yeah, watch the space.
It is, and it's like the massive difference between pizza and barbecue is that it's so much easier to cater for a wider variety of dietary requirements or habits and these and individual tastes. It's excuse me, if we were barbecuing, you'd kind of decide, well, we're making steaks or we're making burgers, and that's what we're having today. Whereas with pizza, we're having pizza, and that pizza is just a platform and a starting place for all the awesomeness that you can create with it. Darina and I have different dietary requirements. She's a vegan. The boys and I eat everything technically. However, the boys are a little bit pickier than me, so I can have my anchovies pizza. Darina can have her mushroom jalapeno pizza with rosemary on top, and the kids can have a margarita if they want. And it's so much easier to cater for so many different habits and tastes than it is with barbecue.
Yeah, I have to agree. And I've had vegan barbecue before, delicious, but I would say I've only had it once, and in Portland, Oregon, of all places, because right, it's one of the only places you'd expect that from. but there are definitely more options for pizza, just for different types of, food restrictions. Speaking of innovation, I'm excited for the future of Ooni and what you all do, how you all take the company. Especially after hearing that comment about just the barbecue space, because I'm thinking of like all of the entry level barbecue items and all of the high end. And I wanted to maybe talk to you all about like what is next? Like what is the, I guess, what kind of oven are you looking to make next? Is it just like the Karu 16 where you're making them a little bit bigger and multi-fueled is getting popular with the door? Are you going into electric? Are you going into like commercial? Are you getting even more entry level? What can you share?
So I can share very little of our roadmap, but what I can tell you that we have our absolute target that we have is to make our customers' pizza journey easier. And we started off as our kind of history, and the starting off point was that domestic ovens, electric ovens, they get up to, in Fahrenheit terms, 450-ish, and then the next pizza is a little bit less. So we really pioneered in getting to very high temperatures. So that very high temperature Neapolitan style is kind of our signature that we've started working from, and we really want to make sure that in the future we make our customers whatever type of pizza. And I'm not saying you can make a fantastic New York style pizza or a Detroit style pizza with our ovens, but we want to make sure that journey, we do our best in making that journey as easy as possible, and that starts from the ingredients. We have lots of different pizza ingredients that are in Europe, especially, really quite difficult to come by. The specific niche producers for the produce. So we start by making sure that the products are out there and available to our customers. We're looking at improving our education offering, so that of course there's recipes, but going beyond that and then of course the excuse me, the ovens have to really always live up to it, and so we keep on improving the ovens along that journey to make them as intuitive and easy to use.
That's interesting. I definitely, see with the just see it in what you're doing. You're providing these different types of flour through your distribution. I don't know. You got me thinking about like, are you going to start providing, cup and crisp pepperoni or andouille to people who are unable to do that? And I guess maybe why did you decide to do that? In addition to the ovens,
the groceries range is very natural. We actually launched a much wider range in the US this week, which is cool because we've been testing it in the UK for a while. Good pizza is simple, but access to really good ingredients is a big part of it. As you know, I'm fascinated by kind of all the stories in pizza, and certain New Yorkers will tell you need New York tap water in order to make the best New York dough, but certainly you need good flour and you need good quality ingredients. So making that part easy for our customers, as well as having the tools around the oven preparation. There's also that accessing content that can level up where you're at, right? So we're doing a lot of work around that. Sort of spoiler in terms of the future of pizza learning is very exciting to us. So we're working with people on that. It's looking at kind of all the touch points for making.
Yeah, quite simply, like we sell dough, and some people are very kind of like, well, they take pride in the dough making, that they would take pride in making the dough from scratch themselves. But at the end of the day, we really want people to fall in love, if they've not already fallen in love with making pizza. we really want them to get there. And one of the ways to show how easy it is to actually provide them with access to great dough. And we know that those customers who buy dough from us, they keep on buying it. I personally, I use it not all the time, but maybe 1/5 of the pizzas that I make at home are made with the frozen dough, which is it's a great dough. It just takes one step when we're leading very busy lives, not having to prepare your dough the previous night, spend an hour doing that. It's a great time saving, and I know are guaranteed that it actually will make a great pizza the next day. So we get those people get their hands into the dough and making pizzas through that.
Is there a business goal related to, getting people more invested in pizza? Is it because if they are a bigger enthusiast, they will love the company forever? I kind of just want to, I want to understand.
We don't want to get, we don't want to give masses away about the future, because innovation has been a big part of and releasing often has been a big part of our growth. But yeah, absolutely. Like we have, as Kristian's referenced like a couple of times, there wasn't a market before, it wasn't owned, and we've sort of both excited. We've told people about Ooni, but also said, hey, do you want to make pizza? And so then that's the direction. We've got these two North Star metrics, and one is revenue, so we can continue to grow and invest and become a truly global brand. And the other is customer happiness. So what are the things that spark that joy? So that's from every part of our business, how they communicate with us, to the actual act of making pizza. And then, so there's the preparation, so the learning before that, there's the preparation, there's the cook itself, there's the serving, there's the party. Like there's a load of directions this could go in. But the very simple core of our business is make pizza. And that's where we're at. But yeah, exciting.
I have to say that I am super impressed by that kind of direction, just because like when I'm on the Ooni community, I can't help but feel bad when people post their first pizza and they're angry, right? When in fact, they need to redirect their energy. It's like, I don't know, I think it's so easy to put the blame. I was sold this, I didn't understand this coming on, but it's, fortunately I had made pizza prior to using the Ooni, but it took a lot of time and a lot of preparation. And I think focusing on the education and getting people the right ingredients, or even giving them like their first dough that is, used, that is made for an Ooni oven, is going to lead to a lot of success, if I may make a prediction.
Yeah, hopefully. That's it. Everyone has, actually it's Pancake Day today in the UK, I'm sure everywhere. So we make that analogy quite often. You often burn your first pancake, and then you get that rhythm going. But it's so often that people burn their first pizza because they can't believe it's so fast and so hot. And, if your only experience is your domestic oven or your barbecue, where you can sort of have a beer and chill out, you can't do that if you're making Neapolitan style pizza, which is like 60 seconds or 60 to 90 seconds. So it's that, do people put on too many toppings? Often people don't want to watch videos or read instructions. I'm kind of one of those people, but then you do it and then you're like, okay, so you learn through doing, and then you're kind of like, okay, I want to learn now. I'm ready to get better at this. So you're right, though. It is a shame. We want no one to have that experience when they're disappointed, right? But also to, you have to hone it. There's a bit of an art form to doing it, which is just a new way of cooking and engaging with cooking generally, right?
It's quite funny. A few years ago, I noticed all of the 1 and 2 star reviews at a retailer's website who still sells our products, were just people complaining how their pizza burned in 2 minutes, and they didn't they didn't believe what we were telling them, that look, this gets really, really hot. You have to turn the pizza, you have to take it out before it burns. So, but there's a great education piece to be made in making sure that those who aren't as comfortable with it are kind of we are enablers and helpers along that journey.
Yeah, perfect. Owning it, right? Owning, like, I don't know, there's something to be said of like, if you're the leader, it's not your employee's fault. It's yours, right? If it's like, if you can be the better company by helping educate, that way you can take ownership when the customer fails. Like, even though you try to put out as many resources as you can, some people will never read or watch the videos. You can still attempt to try to make the experience as easy or as positive as possible. And you're doing all you can.
Absolutely. It is, in the end of the day, of course, there's a limit to everything, but end of the day, we have to look at when someone has had a bad experience, when they burned their first pizza or whatever's happened to it. We've got to look at it, and is there something we could have done differently? Whether that's on the product side, whether that's on onboarding that customer into using the product or these. So we have to start by taking responsibility for each of these burnt pizzas. And looking at it, and in many cases we can say, well, actually, no, you know what, the person left their pizza in the oven for 4 minutes at 920 degrees, 30 degrees, and it's burned. So they were meant to read the instructions, or they were meant to know this, but you've got to be humble, and you have to see that, is there something we could have done better first.
Yeah. Kind of like what Darina was saying, is meet them where they are. And, right. Yeah. So, I always ask these two questions, and I want to leave some time for them. I ask these two questions, before I end the show. And the first one is, what is one mistake that people can avoid in pizza business or life? And I would love to just open it up to both of you and hear your response.
I've talked about this a little bit already, but I think we definitely made mistakes with hiring. Few mistakes, but notable ones where we didn't have the confidence, that because we hadn't done it before, right? We hadn't sold into the US or manufactured at scale or certain things that, well, we had confidence about the idea. We were like, oh, we're so new. And so we hired outside our values, even though, like I mentioned, it's okay, they're not passionate, that's fine, because we've got so much passion, it'll be infectious. And actually it isn't. So I think when you've got a gut about people, you should go with that, and actually to try and have the confidence sooner, that, you know, no one had done what we'd done before. Not specifically, we learn all the time, and we're really open to connecting with people, and we love feeling like a small company because there's so many people who have done beautiful jobs, and we want to hear from them. But like, we should have been more confident. We should have trusted our gut on those couple of employees. So yeah, I would say hire and live via values, and also trust your gut.
Yeah, I think similar. Like the gut is usually not wrong on a lot of things. You have to make sure that your gut has enough inputs. You have to be able to. You have to keep your eyes open. You have to keep your eyes on the numbers and listen to the team and look at the data. But in the end of the day, and this is actually, I read this somewhere, that your gut has the second biggest number of neurons in your body after your brain. So that's what when you think with your gut, that's where it comes from. So actually, your gut has thoughts, I guess. So yeah, trust that's the best advice, is to, in the end of the day, you've got to make a call, and if it doesn't feel right, then it probably isn't.
Lovely. I would say that confidence is super key in just life in general. I want to say thank you for, being my first ever show sponsor, because I don't know if we had the same feeling when you got the Kickstarter going, but
No, we want to be. This is one of the really important things. So thank you. That I'm really pleased to hear that. And one of the things that really drives us is we want to be a contributing and supporting member of the wider pizza making community, whether or not you use our ovens in your restaurant business or wherever. We want to be a good citizen of the pizza making community across commercial and consumer side. So that's really a driver for us. We want pizza to become that big thing that barbecuing is at home. So
I'm honored. Seriously. I want to leave you all with this last question. And what do you want to leave the audience with today?
If you haven't made pizza, make pizza. Give it a go. You're going to love it. And if you have...
I think that's...
Yeah, if you have, make it again.
Yeah. Make pizza.
Darina, Kristian, thank you so much for your time today. You all are a blessing to this community, and you are an inspiration. I'm so lucky to have spent my morning with y'all. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for having us. This was a really great pleasure and an honor to be on the show. So thank you very much.
You're too kind. Thank you for that very lovely experience. And we hope to meet you in real life. It'd be great to actually have pizza together.
Yeah. It's a personal goal of mine to share a slice with everyone who has been on the podcast. So yes, I would love to meet you all one day.
We'll make it happen this year.